All right, we're back. Remember, if you have any questions or comments about anything dealing with business, finances, money, or taxes, or if you just want to discuss issues affecting our community, give me a call at 601-948-5950. If you don't want to be live on the air today, just let our phone screener and producer, Jessica Vaughn, know, and she'll get your question or comment forwarded to me, and I'll read it and respond without you having to be live. You can also send your questions or comments through our website. Go to www.tclfinancialtaxservices.com and click on the link, The TCL Show. All right, man, we have a exciting and special guest in the studio this evening. His name is Dr. Michael L. Bookhardt. And let me just read this short bio. I told him to send me a short bio. This man sent me like 5 chapters.
Oh, man.
But hey, when you got all these degrees and so talented and all these expertise, hey, then he said, man, I went back and shortened it. It felt like he only took out 3 words. But hey, we're going to see. Dr. Michael Bookhardt is a family medicine physician with expertise in healthcare leadership, management, and community outreach. He earned a BS in biology from Oakwood University. His medical degree is from St. Matthew's University School of Medicine and an MBA in healthcare management from Davenport University. He completed his family medicine residency at the University of Mississippi Medical Center. He currently serves as a hospital physician and is a founding primary care physician at Good Faith Wellness Center. His previous leadership roles include serving as medical director for multiple hospice organizations in Mississippi and at Spine Medical Center in Jackson. A respected healthcare advocate and speaker, Dr. Bookhardt has participated in national forums such as the White House Summit on Community Healthcare Partnerships and American Academy of Family Physicians conferences. Outside of medicine, he is a musician, small business owner in Jackson, Mississippi, and the creator and host of the podcast Telehealth Tuesday. Board certified by the American Board of Family Medicine, Dr. Michael Bookhardt is committed to advancing local healthcare and empowering his community. His mantra, true wealth, begins with good health. Oh man, that was absolutely amazing, brother. You done motivated me. I might enroll in school tomorrow or something. How you doing, sir?
Man, good. Appreciate you, man. Doing well. How about yourself?
Oh, glad to have you on the show. I mean, man, we have talked about it several times that I've been, me and Dr. Bookhardt are real good friends. I've been knowing him for, how long now? About a year and a half, 2 years?
Man, it feels like longer than that, man.
It feels like longer than that.
Yeah.
But we've been talking about you coming on my show, and like I said in your bio, your Telehealth Tuesday, because your podcast actually comes on Tuesday at what time?
That's right, 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, each and every Tuesday.
And again, let's talk about that name, Telehealth Tuesday. What motivated you to give it that name?
Well, we were trying to think of something. First of all, I was thinking about something that would be catchy and also make sure to get people's attention. But also I was thinking about what day during the week is a good day. Wednesday, people go to prayer meeting. Friday starts the weekend. People want to do things. Thursdays, when people they take off Friday, so Thursday may start their weekend. And then Monday, people have choir rehearsal or they're just too darn tired from the weekend. So Tuesday seemed like the perfect day. And then telehealth, just kind of focusing at that time on the fact that we do telemedicine at Good Faith Wellness Center. And so I just kind of put the two together, prayed about it, and there we go.
Sounds good. Now, Telehealth Tuesday on the podcast, what platforms can they watch it on?
So we broadcast simultaneously to YouTube on Dr. B TV. That's DOCTOR, the letter B TV on YouTube. Then on LinkedIn as well under my name, and also on to Mike Bookhardt on Facebook as well, and Instagram as well, Heart of Music. So we're on 4 channels simultaneously, and then we copy that over to the Good Faith Wellness Center pages on Instagram and Facebook.
Okay. Now, when I read your bio, I mean, you very impressive, very extensive, and you actually, as one of the founding
Yeah, I got you.
owners of your own practice, Good Faith Wellness Center. Tell us about that.
Man, Good Faith Wellness Center, we opened our doors officially just about 3 years ago. Hard to believe it's been that long, but it was, just thought about how healthcare was going. I know you mentioned some things, especially even with the big, beautiful building, it has impact on so many things. There's so many things that affect healthcare, the costs and all that. And then also the attitude of the staff, the medical staff, doctors, nurse practitioners. And it was just seeming like everything was going downhill, and especially after COVID, when people's true colors kind of came out and sometimes exposing things for the worst. So Good Faith Wellness Center, of course, actually was named by a patient. He was a patient of mine who was a gentleman who was a homosexual gentleman. He had been disparaged and discriminated against, how it is being in the South. And so he had not gotten the best care. And then also the African-American gentleman who was diagnosed with HIV several years ago. And he told me when I took care of him at a hospital here in South Jackson, he said, man, this is like no other doctor's ever taken care of me the way you have and never judged me. And I told him, man, I said, thank you, man. And I wanted to start a clinic one day. I said, that is probably far-fetched for me, not right now. And he said, well, if you do, maybe you could have it call it something with good faith. He said, because he knows that on his own faith was tested, even when people were telling him that he wouldn't live to see 25 years old. And I think he was probably 38 or 40. So that's where Good Faith came in. And then Wellness Center, because it's a team of myself, Dr. Torrance Green, who's a medical doctor, who's also a board-certified nephrologist by trade, kidney specialist, and Dr. Sophronia Stigwell, board-certified chiropractor. So multi-disciplinary practice, and so that's where the Wellness Center came in, and we just kind of roll with it from there.
Great. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Now, so that's your personal clinic. Outside of that particular wellness center, and would you call it a clinic, or what would you call it? I want to make sure I get the name correct.
Yeah, it is a medical clinic, okay. But yeah, that's what we call it with Wellness Center. Like I was saying, just because we combine some non-traditional things, like say with the Herbal Blessing, I have a sort of a verbal kind of agreement with Eric Collins. Shout out to the Herbal Blessing, where traditional westernized medicine would not steer people in that direction, and plant-based and all that good stuff. It would always be going towards, putting people on medicine for hypertension, diabetes, whereas we do that, of course, if it's necessary. But me personally, I will steer people to him if it's somebody who's borderline on the edge and just needs a little something to, get a few pounds off or get that blood pressure or diabetes under control. So we kind of call it Wellness Center, because it's more than just the average clinic, where you're just a number, and we're seeing 20 and 30 people a day and don't even have time to step in the room.
So you pretty much you also, I guess, if when necessary, you use more of a natural approach.
Right. Absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely.
Great. Well, let's talk about, when it comes to Mississippi, the state that we live in, that, I don't know, we still the most obese state. Is that still accurate?
I don't think it's currently number one, but it's definitely top 5 easily, unfortunately.
Okay. And in your opinion, because you're not from here, right? But how long have you been here?
Right. Man, been here this upcoming May will make 13 years.
Okay.
13 years.
And you're from where originally?
Orlando, Florida, the house of Mickey Mouse.
So, moving here, as far as the, I guess, because I'm sure Florida is not in the top 5.
No.
Okay.
In terms of unhealthy states, yeah, no.
Okay. So moving here, was it a big culture shock in regards to that particular statistic, and the way, I guess the way that Mississippi is labeled as unhealthy?
A lot of people ask me that, but for me personally, it wasn't such a huge one, because I did go to school in Huntsville, Alabama. So, Alabama's being part of the Deep South. So there's a lot of similarities there. But I would say that just in my experience, and anecdotally, that the diet did for me seem like it was worse here. Only, for example, when I was in residency at UMC, I remember asking somebody, "Hey, what'd you have for breakfast?" And they talked about bacon, and I said, "Well, hey, have you ever heard of? What about turkey bacon?" And the lady said, "What's that?" And so I knew immediately I had my work cut out for me. And so that's some of the things that we do because the reason why it's so bad is just certain things are passed down, and people like cooking with lard and fat back and all that kind of stuff instead of you doing greens like vegetarian or using turkey bacon or even turkey necks. So just small things like that that open people's eyes, how they prepare their food, things like that could really make a huge difference. And so that's what we aim to focus on here.
Okay. And I don't know if you knew this. I think we might have talked about it a couple of times. I mentioned to a lot of people, and they are surprised, especially they just know me within the past couple of years. My heaviest was 293 pounds.
Wow.
293 pounds. I actually lost 105 pounds, probably more than that, a little bit more than that.
That's a lot of weight.
Oh, definitely. A whole person. A whole person.
That's a person, yeah.
And, one of the things that motivated me to do that, of course, I wanted to become healthy. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't until, I went to my primary doctor, they did an EKG, and it came back irregular. And then he referred me to a heart doctor. And that particular heart doctor did a more thorough EKG and came back into the room and said, "Have you ever had a heart attack?" And I said, "No." I said, "Why you say that?" He said, "Looking at your EKG, it appears that you had a heart attack in your past previously." And I told him no, and he sent me home, ordered me, and it came in the mail, a heart monitor that I had to wear 24/7 for like 3 weeks, where they can monitor my heart. And that was just a wake-up call to me that, hey, I did not want to live that way. He explained to me that, hey, if you lose weight, it's pretty much a domino effect on a lot of the, I was pretty much pre-diabetic, high blood pressure, and just pretty much everything else that came along with just being obese. I've been maintaining about 185 currently.
That's excellent.
But I will say that, and I want to talk to you about that later, about hereditary, because I was able to reverse, once he studied the heart monitor, the results from the heart monitor did come back good. I was able to get off of diabetes medicine, so I no longer take that. My A1C is good. I'm actually 4 points. I've been consistent on that for years. And I do want to dive into that in a minute about my primary doctor. No matter the weight loss, how good I eat, I just can't get off that blood pressure medicine. He said, hey, when I did he said it could just be hereditary. So as I started diving into my family history, yeah, it's very common in all my immediate family. So in saying that, I want you to kind of talk on, the effect of obesity and what that have just on your overall health, and just it being a domino effect, and what all it could cause.
Okay. Yeah. So, well, first of all, we commend you for losing 100, 105 pounds. Like you said, that's a whole person. But obesity is such a, and I see several people, a big shout out there, Crystal's there, Dr. Nate Dunlap, and some other good people. Thank y'all for joining. That's some things that we have a conversation about, and they've even told me, we did a conference the other with Brother Cyrus Jones, and I've even been told I can be so blunt, man, about it. And I know it's a sensitive topic for some people, but the fact of the matter is that, especially here in the South, we have to really get, take life by the horns and be real about it and saying being overweight is not good. And there's no such thing as big boned. Okay, we want to dispel that rumor. Your bones are the same size as other human beings, okay? So it's just, we have to, being obese, going to your question, puts extra strain on your heart, puts extra strain on your joints, circulation system, and you've got so many things like stroke, heart attack, diabetes, high blood pressure. I mean, it is a cascade of events, and so people don't look at it like that. But being obese, it's almost like a systemic kind of thing, like diabetes and rheumatoid arthritis and lupus, where they affect the whole body. And you can shorten your lifespan probably by about 10 years by being morbidly obese. So again, I salute you for losing so much weight because, and then one last thing, you talk about chronic back pain, knee pain, all that kind of stuff. If you think about it, if I got a bottle of water here and I set a pin on top of it, but then, or if I take this chair that we're sitting in and sit it on top, at some point the bottle of water is going to crinkle. That's the same thing that happens to your spine and your knees and joints when there's far too much weight on them. So that's something, even just a kind of a gross way to look at it, but how being obese just leads to you overall being in more pain, being miserable, sluggish. And so it's such an epidemic here, and it's something we can beat this. That's the positive. We can beat this, but we got to change the mindset. Got to change how we're, cooking. Stop trying to do all the fad diets and stuff. And there's no excuse for just good, hard work, diet, and exercise in the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask you. So would you say, what's the common denominator that leads to obesity? Would it be just overeating? What's like the primary reasons that leads to someone just gaining weight?
Well, one of the things, and I'm glad you asked me that because I do want to clarify. Now, there's no such thing as big bones, say that again. But when it does come to family history, you'll notice that a lot of people have, people that are larger in size or more overweight in the family, mom, dad, the aunties, all these different people, and the children as well. So there is something to say for some family history or genetics with some of that. But I would say the main reason is really excess calories. Like that's a medical diagnosis, morbid obesity due to excess calories. So for example, a normal human being takes in about 22 to 2,400 kilocalories a day. A diabetic diet, what we put folks on is 1,800 calories. Don't go any more than that, right? So, but the problem is portion control, Tim. So 6 ounce, right? A 6 ounce piece of salmon, 6 ounce piece of steak, a lean steak, if you can do it or afford it, like a filet mignon. Those are the lean. That's the healthy way to eat and to portion out. But what happens is people say, oh man, I got to get, big, huge serving of mashed potatoes, huge 24-ounce piece of steak. And so we overeat. And so a lot of people are living, not eating to live, but living to eat. And so that's a big, that's a problem. So all those excess calories, that's why a lot of people can't get the weight off. And then there's other things like sleep apnea. People are not getting the right amount of rest. The bigger we are, the more weight on the chest, the more like sometimes your throat's closing up in your sleep. And then non-compliance, they don't want to get the CPAP machine. So you're further worsening your lung pressures, your heart pressure. Then you develop heart failure, and it goes on and on. And that's why obesity, all this stuff is linked to obesity, and it's a high mortality or death rate related to it.
I had a question, because you mentioned calories. I think you said between 2,200, 2,400 is the average.
Yeah, most people.
Is it the same amount for males and females, or?
It's a little bit different because, males do take in more calories normally. But like I said, I think if you wanted to just maybe go to a set, if a person were to take in no more than 2,200 calories a day, I think they're doing okay. But if you're diabetic, we want to take that down about 1,800 calories and hopefully less. And then there's something called factor meals, which get delivered to your door. People may be aware of that, or freshly, different things like that. And see, each of these meals, if you're trying to do a low on carbs, like a diabetic or low fat, a lot of times they'll be about 600 to 800 calories. You see what I'm saying? So if you do 2 of those, if you eat that for lunch and dinner, that's only 1,200 calories. But see, most people, because we're used to such large portions, they'll say, man, I feel cheated out of my money. Wait a minute. And so they say, where's the rest of it? Because we're just so used to going way overboard. So like I said, you can see even 3 of those meals would be 6 times 3 is 1,800. And there you go. That's 1,800 calories if you're really, trying to be spot on.
Now, you mentioned the 2,200 calories. in some cases 1,800. Is calories, or certain foods, like, for example, you know, I don't know on top of my head how many calories is a honey bun, but if I ate, but if I wanted to eat some fried chicken and a honey bun for dessert, and I eat 1,800 calories of those two things, is that equivalent to eating something else valued at 1,800 calories?
Man, that's a great question, Tim. I would say not all calories are created equal. So yes, you would quickly get to the 2,200 calories if you were eating honey buns and fried chicken. but your other nutrition, your protein requirement, fruits and vegetables, that American Diabetic Association, American Heart Association, that food pyramid, you've got at the top, the least amount of things would be the unhealthy and sweets, and the biggest is the healthy stuff, so not all calories are created equal. You can reach 2,200 calories either way, but it's a total difference in how you would feel as a person if it's the right type of calories at the right time of day versus piling on sweets late at night, and if that's your primary source of nutrition.
Yeah, and I think, a lot of people get that mixed up because, like you said, all calories are not good calories. All calories are not good calories. Hey, dive into, what I talked about a few minutes ago, I brought up about, how important is it to know your family history when it pertains to health, and what effect that can have on your health.
Yeah, the family history, man, is so important. And I know that there are people out there who will say, well, what if I didn't know, my mom, my father or something like that, or if I was adopted, though you have those kind of outliers. But if it's the standard person who, probably at least knows at least who one of their parents is, and that, or your auntie, your uncle, or somebody had, diabetes, or they had their leg amputated, all that kind of stuff because of diabetes or high blood pressure, or early death in the family because of heart disease. Those things are significantly super important to know, because it raises your own risk of those things. Now, just because you have a family history of high blood pressure, hypertension, does not mean that you're just doomed and you're going to be on the Synapryl for the rest of your life, or medications. But it does, raise, just like pre-diabetes raises your chances of developing full-blown diabetes significantly more. So I think we really need to make sure that we're aware of our family history. That's really important. But at the end of the day, everything rests on us. Everything rests on us, because despite all of those things that we may have those things working against us, but still, we are in control of the calories we take in, what we put in our mouth. We're in control of 24 hours in a day, and it depends on how you want to use it. That's how you're going to end up living.
Does it matter? I know you mentioned the parents. Does one person's, I'm talking about father and mother, does one have a more impact on the offspring than another one? Does I, you know what I'm saying, more percentage wise? If I have it might pass more down from a father versus a mother, or does it matter?
Not really, to my knowledge. There's certain things that are, some people say, well, the ladies will take more credit from when you get down to the DNA level, mitochondria and all that kind of stuff, and you inheriting certain things from mothers that kind of cross over in more, a higher percentage than from father. There is some little bit of science behind that, but when it comes to whether you get high blood pressure or something like that from the mother side of the family versus the father, no, it's really inconsequential. No. Okay. Negligible, I would say.
And we're looking at, like you said not necessarily hypertension, but definitely diabetes, heart disease.
Right.
Is obesity hereditary?
There is something to say for that. Like I was saying, like you'll have families that, nearly everyone in the family is unfortunately overweight or obese. So you do see some of that within the gene pool. And that does make, for some people, it is a little bit harder to lose the weight, more challenging. And then if they have things like hypothyroidism in the family, which is low functioning thyroid, that is something that we do see in families as well. So that makes it, again, significantly, it makes it much harder to lose weight and things like that because your thyroid is functioning low and you may not even be aware of it, which is why, hey, on the shameless plug, why they need to make sure they have a good, astute family medicine physician. And if you don't have one, that's why Good Faith Wellness Center is where you need to be, because we screen for that. We check TSH, free T4, and we want to make sure that we rule out on day one whether or not you have thyroid conditions or not.
Yeah. And I'm glad you said it, because I'm real big on preventive health. I actually go to my primary doctor every 3 months. Every 3 months. And
you're an overachiever.
Yeah, especially since there's weight loss. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to get his A1C checked and all that.
Yeah, that's right.
But we got about 5 minutes, so I got about 2 more questions for you if I can.
Okay, I'll try to be quick.
Why is it that when you get older, is it that you just become more, the weight comes on a lot quicker, or you tend to get more obese? You can't even, you look at somebody's picture in their 50s and 60s, it's totally different than when they was in their 20s and 30s. Is that normal? Or, answer that for me.
Yeah, well, the thing is, so the quick answer is that our metabolism changes a lot. So men and women both, and it affects the women a little bit more, and especially post-menopausal. There's changes in hormones and things like that, in the way that we burn fat, the way that our fat stores. So body's completely different. And once we get about 45 to 50, that's why you say you notice a big change, and it's harder to lose weight. It's harder, your energy levels are different, and your pain levels and things like that. Noticing more pain in the joints. So some things do come with age, but it's certainly not a death sentence, and it does not mean that you can't be at a normal, healthy weight and live a good life even past 50 and 60.
Great. Oh, Dr. Bookhardt, it's been a great conversation. Hey, let our audience know how they can get in contact with you, where they can just, again, how they can view your podcast, and how they can even hire you and, be one of your patients. Get that information out.
Well, look, TCL, Mr. Tim Lee, my good friend. First, I want to say thank you for inviting me on to this wonderful show, the TCL Show. I'm Dr. Michael Bookhardt, one of the founding members of Good Faith Wellness Center. We're at 2506 Lakeland Drive, 2506 Suite 310. It's a 6-story building. We're on the 3rd floor. Good Faith Wellness Center at gmail.com. We're definitely taking new patients. And the main thing to know is that, look, if you got insurance, we take every single insurance carrier right now. Now, I don't know about United and some of these new ones, we got to look at that. But right now, we're taking every single insurance provider. So if you have insurance, you have no excuse. If you don't have insurance, I crafted 3 plans, $99, $179 for a family of, $99 for an individual, $179 for a couple, and $229 for a family of 4. Unlimited visits when you come. That means every month you can come for every single day if you want to. But $99 for an individual, that's cheaper than your cell phone. So look, and last thing I'll say, Tim, 3 cancers, 3 things nobody should die from in this country: breast cancer, prostate cancer, and colon cancer. That is ridiculous if you die from that. This stuff can be screened, it can be treated, and even sometimes prevented. So make sure to go get your health care physical. Make sure to see your primary care provider. If you don't have one, you got one now. And remember that true wealth begins with good health.
All right, Dr. Book, I'm going to bring you back on. We didn't even dive into a lot of the topics I want to talk about.
You got that big, beautiful bill, man. We got to get on some.
Hey, I want to thank everyone for tuning in to another episode of the TCL Show. I also want to thank my phone screener and producer, Jessica Bond, and our guest, Dr. Michael Bookhardt. Remember, your failure to plan should not be someone else's emergency. That's why our company slogan is, before you call anybody about your business, finances, money, or taxes, call us. We have 4 locations that gladly serve you. Again, I thank you for listening. I'm your host, Tim C. Lee. Tune in again next Monday, same place, same time, from 6 to 7 p.m. And I'm going to end my show like I do every single Monday. Live debt-free and not like the Joneses. The Joneses are eating good, dressing good, looking good, writing good, and even sometimes smelling good. But the truth is, the Joneses are broke.
That's great. Oh, man. That's
Time to be